My actual name is Lawrence, Lawrence.
Would you go by Larry?
I go by Larry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Steve Hess.
Yeah.
Not related.
Not related.
Flyer.
No.
So Larry, and you live in what suburb? Heber Heights?
Heber Heights, right.
Okay. So tell me about when you filled up and what were you driving when it happened?
When I filled up my diesel truck, and I filled it up about 6 times prior, I was getting ready to go down to Rocky Fork Lake. So I filled it up in anticipation of going down, drove it directly to my house, and parked it for a couple days. Got in the truck on the morning of the 23rd of April, drove down to Rocky Fork. When I got near Rocky Fork, the fuel warning light went on that I had water in the fuel. Stopped immediately, had the truck towed to Jerry Hag Motors in Hillsboro. They diagnosed the problem as water in the fuel. They had to demount the fuel tank. They had to purge all the fuel lines, replace the fuel filter, and dispose of 30 gallons of contaminated diesel fuel. I immediately went back to the station that evening to warn them that there was a problem with contamination in their fuel tank. They told me that they would call me, the manager would call me. Nothing happened. So 4 days later, I went back to the station. They said that nobody else had complained. And so I went to customer service with Marathon, talked to them. They said, give us your credit card statements, give us your repair bill, and we'll take it from there. I never heard anything back from them. Went back to them, and they reminded me that all the stations are individually owned, and that Marathon Oil Company bears no responsibility for the stations. At that point, I filed a Better Business Bureau complaint. Better Business Bureau attempted to contact the station with no response. At that point, I went back to Marathon and I reminded them that it was a Marathon name that was in the Better Business Bureau complaint, and it was their reputation. Their response essentially was, they're individually owned, we take no responsibility. So that's where we are.
So you go through all this, Larry, and how much you end up being on the hook for out of your own pocket? With these
$736.
So not cheap.
Not cheap, no. Especially when you're talking about a diesel engine.
Yeah. And when was this your fill? Was this at some point last year? Are we talking last May and April?
I filled up 6 times at the same station, the last time on the 20th of April.
Of last year?
Of 2019.
Okay.
Okay. On the 23rd was when I got the truck and went down to Rocky Fork Lake.
So you fill up in Heber Heights, you take the truck home to somewhere else in Heber, it's okay then?
It's fine.
How far is it from your house to that lake before you end up seeing
70 miles.
Okay.
Roughly.
So basically the second time you'd driven it, and the second real distance you had
it was
gone.
3/4 of a mile from the station to the house.
And it was fine then?
And I get about 20 miles to the gallon off the diesel engine.
Okay. So we're doing a story. What do you think about the fact that, with the exception of Summit County, the other 87 county auditors' offices, they are not allowed to test fuel quality once it gets to the stations?
When the refinery or the dealer delivers the fuel to the station, I don't think there's a quality issue there. It's when what's in the tank at the station that nobody knows what's in there. And when the dealership showed me what they had taken out of the fuel tank, or out of my fuel tank, it was amazing the indescribable liquid that was taken out. So yeah, there should be a way that the auditor or a fuel inspector can randomly inspect fuel tanks, both diesel and gasoline, at each station.
There's a bill getting ready to be introduced at the State House in Columbus, a Republican in Westchester, who would renew this push to be able to give county auditor's office the ability or the authority to do it, because a lot of them, like Montgomery and Butler County, have the ability to. They're just not allowed to.
Right.
What would you think about a bill getting pushed down the tracks that?
I'd sign up for it, especially given my experience. But it's common sense that they should do that. because nobody's checking on these individual stations around there. And some of them are very reputable, others are not so reputable, and there's others that have no idea what the condition inside their tanks is.
Because basically, the auditor's offices tell us they bill it as, look, we're here to protect consumers. It's an extra level of protection for
Right.
consumers once
Right.
it gets to these tanks. So you got a little, is this what the dealership gave you?
This
Larry, let's
is-
have you play some show and tell with this.
Okay.
So
This
what
is what the dealership gave me. And you can see they actually took out over half a gallon, about 3/4 of a gallon of this stuff. You can see that the diesel fuel here on top is kind of yellowish. That's contaminated diesel fuel because it's normally a light green. What the stuff is on the bottom, the dark brown stuff, we have no idea. But they gave me that as kind of a souvenir.
Yeah. So this is the stuff they pulled right out of your tank.
This came right out of my tank. Yeah.
Now, luckily, you've at least still got the truck. It's working fine now.
Oh, it works great. Yeah.
$736.
$736 later. Yeah.
Well, that's good. And you use it to what? You tow? You say you got a boat you tow?
I tow a boat. If we're going someplace in the middle of the winter, it's a 4-wheel drive truck.
Yeah.
So if we're going someplace in the winter, we'll take that just because of slippery conditions on the road. But primarily, I use it for towing a boat.
Gotcha. So how much is generically, what's a fill up for that truck cost you?
36 gallons at about $3 a gallon.
Okay.
So if the tank is totally empty,
Yeah.
normally I don't let it get down that far. Normally it'll run about $75.
Yeah. So a typical fill up would be about $75
Yeah,
for you.
right.
So you're going for a routine fill up and it ends up costing you $736.
Right. Yeah.
Did you have to get your fuel tank replaced and all that, or were they?
No, it didn't
flush
have to. They didn't have to replace it. All they had to do was demount it and empty it out. And there were, as I say, there were 30 gallons of diesel fuel in there,
Yeah.
most of which ended up on the shop floor at Jerry Hag Motors.
Yeah. So you just took it back to, is that the dealership you got it from?
No, I bought it from Jeff Schmidt.
Gotcha. But you took it to a dealership.
It
to
was
get
the
fixed.
closest Chevrolet dealer to Hillsboro, but they're actually in Hillsboro.
Okay. So were they able to tell you what any of that was in that little bottle?
They had no idea. Well, the top they can, because that's just contaminated diesel fuel. What's on the bottom, dirt, rust, water, hard to tell without a laboratory analysis.
Needless to say, stuff that's not good for your engine.
No, it's picked up in the fuel water separator before it even gets to the engine.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Very good.
Okay.
Larry, thanks for talking to us, man. And you try, in your quest to get answers, you basically just got the runaround.
Yeah, that's all. It was frustrating because the least they could have done was talk to me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have cost them anything. As it is, I just kind of avoid that gas station anymore.